People get tired of
Ninth
Mike
round
Tomlin.
pick out of the Citadel in 1981. Stump carved out a successful NFL career with the Cardinals.
He's strong. He can move. He was agile. He can make guys miss. He had it all. He had everything in the game.
In Cardinals franchise history, only Larry Fitzgerald has more all-purpose yards.
He did it all, man.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Browns fans across the globe. Want to welcome everyone to the Stump Talk podcast. Running Back University. Want to welcome Saphyr back to the panel. Hello, Coach Stump Mitchell, shining in
Hello,
as
Ro.
always. How are you guys doing?
Great. Yourself?
Great.
I'm doing great. I got my Christmas tree up. It'll be up all year because I have nowhere to put it. But belated Thanksgiving. Our great producer, Russell Johnson. We got the um, tomorrow, December the 3rd. We're going to announce the NHS with the mayor of Brook Park. And so we're looking forward to that, the press conference. So we'll be working. But we got a lot to talk about, you guys. I want to first make an announcement for the T County Browns backers. We have Browns alumni John Hughes. It's going to be a meet and greet. We're doing donations and raffles for the Toys for Tots. The Browns backers are collecting toys for underprivileged children. So come out and join us at 12 o'clock at Shenanigans next week, the headquarters for the T County Browns backers. So we're going to jump right into this. Some very interesting topics. Coach, you can take the floor. The Browns versus the 49ers. Shador, Jerry Jeudy, the terrible fourth down call. Please have at it.
Well, there was a lot going on in that game, but the thing that went on was after the game was Stefanski was talking about complimentary football. I mean, it's 8-10. They're down 2 points at the half. They come back, they get the ball, and unfortunately, they don't really move the ball. But the score is 10-8, and they have the ball on there minus 33. And instead of punting the ball, he decides to go for it on 4th and 1. I mean, that's ridiculous. You should learn from your failures. And he did that same thing in the playoff game when we played the in Houston. Defense was playing relatively well. You punt the ball, give them a chance to make a stop. That defense was playing extremely well. Special teams and offense uh, was the cause of them losing that game.
Sapphire, what are your
Yeah,
thoughts on that?
I have to co-sign on what Coach Stump said. I mean, for me, my family were scratching our heads. Why don't you ride on your defense that has gotten you through to the point you're at in the season? It just really, for us, begged the question of, was there something going on or he thought was going on that the defense just couldn't go out and be consistent and do the things, again, that they've been doing all season? It didn't really make sense to us.
Well, and it's not the fact that they did it all season. They did it that particular game. I mean, the
True.
weather is not that great. Uh, the 49ers did not have long drives. They didn't sustain any long drives. They got the ball in scoring position for the most part. So you give the defense a chance to do what they do, and that's get after quarterbacks. They did a tremendous job of stopping the run.
Yes, they did.
The defense did. So they 49ers, if you punt the ball, I don't see them driving the length of the field. It's just not going to happen. But you put the
Kenny,
defense in a tough situation. There's nothing complimentary about the decision that he made to go for it on 4th and 1 in your own territory with a lot of game left and it being you only 2 points down.
Coach, could you go back to, was that 2 years ago? I think talked about Stefanski and people not learning from the mistakes and fine tuning when they played the Texans, and he went for it on his own 40. The score was 10-8 against the 49ers. Here I'm just going through the research you did earlier. Can you talk about the Texans situation in comparison to what happened this past Sunday?
Well, The only difference is that it's not a playoff game. I mean, that's the only difference in the play that he chose to call during the Texans game and this game. But it was a bad situation. You got to learn from things. I mean, he didn't learn from that situation, but the defense was playing extremely well. It's 10-8. You punt the ball and force them to have to go the length of the field. I don't think they would have done it. That defense has been playing for the most part well all year.
Saphyr, he talks about the defense. Stefanski made the call to go on 4th and 1 on the 33-yard line. Could you discuss what you saw, you and your family, as you stated? They did a play where they put Fannin behind center, who's a rookie. He's never been behind center. Looks like they were rushed. Shador was kind of looking around. What did you thought? What did you see there?
It for us, and I got a mixture of family members, AFC North, NFC East. We're all watching the game. Two of my cousins coach high school football, and they actually played at Cheney University. And we just looked at each other. I actually was embarrassed because I did not understand what was going on. And it's for me, again, as a fan, there is nothing different that Coach Stefanski is showing me in year 6 than he has in any other year. I just don't understand that call, what he was thinking, who he thought he was going to trick, him or Mr. Reeves. We just looked at each other and scratched our heads. So I'm curious to know what Coach Stump thought about
Rush,
that.
when we talked about the game last week, I said they needed to try to run the ball when they had to throw into the wind because Shador has a nice arm. He don't have a he throws the ball well. He don't throw it extremely hard. It's an easy ball to catch, but because of his lack of velocity, the wind was going to affect his ball. But when you take a look at what the 49ers did, Brock Purdy he was 16 of 29 for 168 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. All right, Shador was 16 for 25 for 149 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. He was sacked 3 times. Brock was sacked a couple times. So the quarterbacks, to tell you the truth, you're talking about an experienced guy and an inexperienced guy. They played pretty much the same game. They played pretty much the same game, and we talk about how great Brock Purdy is. But the win and the conditions made those guys even. But I think the Browns' defense was better than the 49ers. The 49ers got a pretty good defense, but I think the Browns' defense played a better game. But it was the things that they did on special teams and 2 special teams blunders, and then the mistake that Kevin made to go for it early in the ball game. I mean, in the second quarter, with them on their own 33-yard line. You just don't do that if you're in your right mind. You just don't do that unless you just don't want to win.
Oh,
If you're trying to help the 49ers, now you make a play like that. If you don't want Shador to get another win, now you make a play like that.
Right, Coach. Could you talk about? I think it was very interesting. You break down the depths of the game. You mentioned that when they went for it and the 49ers got the ball on the 33-yard line, you said that gave the 49ers an open playbook. Could you explain that to the average fan and what that means?
They can do whatever they want to do. They have the best position on the field. You starting at your opponent's 33-yard line. It's not like you're in a backed up situation where you can just run the ball. I don't know if the wind was at their back or not. If it was, you're talking about a 43-yard field goal or 50-yard field goal. So they can call trick plays. They can do whatever. Gain 5 yards, make it a shorter field goal attempt. They had the entire playbook open to do whatever they wanted to do. Whereas if you punt the ball, you know, Corey was punting pretty dang on well. So they may end up being backed up. And especially if he's got the win in his back, you don't
mhm.
know the ball can land on the 5, on the 2. You just don't know. But you took all those things away from the defense that was playing relatively well. You get a great punt, you can pin them back. You just never know what you're going to get. And Kevin took that away from the defense and really away from the offense. being able to get the ball a second time, having much better field position.
Sapphire, I want you to give us some insight. The sideline conversation between Jerry Judy and Shador. I know you are a Shador fan and have respect for how he's come to be the quarterback at this point with no reps and the media attacking the kid. You know, one day we're gonna really take the top off this thing and really dig in. You know, we're trying to be cool, but the racial overtones have just been crazy, right? And us being African Americans, we sit here and read the comments they make about him and his father, and it's been pretty crazy. But again, we'll probably dig into that another day. But how do you feel about what happened with Jerry Judy and Shador, Sapphire?
Honestly, I feel like Shador handled it like a professional. I look at body language. And when I saw that conversation when they initially showed it, I saw Shador kind of sitting there looking up at Judy. Like, I felt like he was listening to him. He removed Judy's body language, okay? And
Mm-hmm.
he was listening to him. And then at the point where he stood up, I saw him look at him again like he was listening and then pull up that Surface Pro to say, hey, but look here. So for me, I saw a very young man demonstrate a high level of emotional intelligence with a team member who was just really feeling himself. I look at Jerry Judy. He's had 32 receptions this year for 395 yards. He's averaging 12.3 yards a carry. He has one touchdown, and his longest reception is 39 yards. That to me, when I read those stats, tell me the story of I'm certain Jerry Judy is a good person. But sometimes it's hard for people to take accountability for their performance. It's a hard thing. And it's not just specific to Jerry Judy. I think that's just a human thing. So for me, I saw young Sanders demonstrate a high level of emotional intelligence and try to engage with him and de escalate the situation. And he's got even more of my respect because of that.
Coach, did
Well,
you see the
yeah, I
did,
saw the video. I
did you
saw
see the
both
play?
guys.
Did you see the play
Right
where
now,
Judy missed the pass? Coach, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but did you see the play that escalated the actual conversation when in the first half Shador missed and they missed a potential touchdown?
yeah, yeah, I saw it again. You talking about throwing the ball when you have the wind at your back, and then when you have the wind in your face, it makes the difference. It's not a normal deal. Shador really, for the most part, throw the long ball pretty good. He's not off on those balls too often. I know, and there again, he hadn't had much work with Judy, which isn't a big deal. But Judy's frustration isn't totally with Shador. His frustration is with the fact that he's not getting and should be getting at least 10 targets a game. Most teams number one guy, Russ, going to get at least 10 targets a game, and he hadn't been getting those things. So his frustration don't just boil down to Shador. Any quarterback that was in there at that particular time, this time of the year, he's probably not going to get 1,000 yards. He's frustrated.
Even given that frustration, Coach, was it okay for him to be so vocal? And maybe him and Shador have a relationship we don't know about, but Jerry Judy would have never probably done that with Flacco or Dylan or any other quarterbacks on the roster. So what's your take on that, on his
My
approach?
take is that he's frustrated about the whole thing, about everything that has gone on. Shador, unfortunately, was the culprit of his frustration. That's just the way it is. Uh, Unfortunately, it happened. I'm sure they moved beyond that right now. But those guys are frustrated with how everything has transpired. It started. Forget about it. Started from the draft, but just forget about the draft. Once they were in training camp with Joe Flacco, you knew who was going to be your starter. You should have prepared those receivers to work with Flacco. That's what you should have done. It's about 1 year. It's not about next year. It's
Mhm.
about how can you win with Joe Patonio. right now. How can you win with Ethan Posick, Wyatt Tiller, those older guys? You get Joe Flacco, you get your receiver to make Jerry Judy even better, and you got David, and now we roll. You bring in some offensive linemen, but that's not what they did. I don't know what type of game plan they had, but there was no way with the way they drafted. Their game plan was for them to be successful this year, and the way they constructed and carried out training camp.
Well, I want to get back to the still the big topic of the game. You know, we were sitting on the edge of our couches, or those who went to the game. We got to get back to the kid Shador. I always look at life, coach. You have to take advantage of opportunities. Life is not fair, you know, when we wake up in the morning, right? That comes with it. So we can't really address that because this is how it goes. We never knew any other way. And Shador probably has always been under unfair pressure, given his disposition with his dad being a goat. But Shador was 16 for 25 for 149 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. Coach, you mentioned that. He had 3 sacks for a loss of 34 yards. Saphyr, we're going to let you go first. What is your view on the performance of Shador?
I definitely think it's going in a positive direction. I mean, this is his second game. And so for me, it's like the timeline is off. There's no way that I can compare apples to apples because now we know he didn't get first team reps consistently or at all in the preseason. And he was literally thrown into a game a couple weeks ago. This was his second full, start with the team. I see positive. When you look at his stats from that Raiders game to now, to me, there is clear growth. And then I just want to say this too, and I know we got to watch time here. I'm curious to get Coach Stump's thoughts on he lost Conklin on the offensive line, and then at some point Teller. How that also, you know, impacted, if at all, his performance on Sunday, because we have to factor that in. I would imagine, right, Coach?
Listen, the offensive line is going to affect everyone's performance. I mean, you take a look at the running backs; they're not averaging 4 yards.
Hmm.
I mean, you get down there, they can blow it out of proportion because you get down there and you run a shotgun against Vegas and you score a couple times. I mean, you run the Wildcat. They was playing the Raiders. Competitive teams, they haven't been able to do anything. Forget about the quarterback. The backs haven't been able to do anything. They totally mismanaged the draft by not getting no offensive linemen. That's the first mistake. That would be the first thing they needed to do. Get the offensive lineman after they had already had Joe. Joe proved when he went to Cincinnati that he could
Oh,
still play.
hmm.
The defense wasn't playing any good, but he was putting up numbers and making connections with receivers. So Andrew Berry, they totally mismanaged everything the past couple years, to be perfectly honest. And
With that being said, Coach and Sapphire, uh, I think one of the topics, you know, Russ wakes up and watches sports, so and I think one of the main topics is they're still talking about they don't have a quarterback on their roster that they can go into next year with. And Coach, you've been beaten in the head that they've had players at the positions of running back and various other positions outside of the quarterback where they were adequate enough to where they didn't have to address those needs, right? And so now here we are. You get a quarterback in the third and the fifth. They're still talking about, you know, maybe retaining. Again, this is just local media talking. I'm sure you've seen it, Sapphire. They're talking about retaining Barry and or Stefanski, saying, "Oh, they had a great draft." Well, if you draft 2 running backs and 2 quarterbacks in the same draft, and you haven't addressed these other needs, you know, how was this considered? They had a great draft. They got the kid from UCLA who's playing well. You know, obviously, uh, uh, our running back out of Ohio State is a stud. But looking at the draft needs and the results, I don't know how you review this a good draft. But I want to ask, going into that, Bubba Ventrone, he's probably been the worst special teams coach in the world. I'm not going to say the NFL in the world. Coach, you were on to him last year. Again, the rest of us were late to the party. Coach was talking about Bubba Patron last year, and here we are. It's like it's compounding interest, right? So, Coach, where we at now? Why is it Stefanski? Why hasn't he been fired? And this Dylan fiasco, the special teams, the quarterback reps, everything is he has not done anything well, including draft. And then you got a guy like Jim Schwartz sitting there. So, Coach, what's your thoughts on that? Why are we still here talking about Stefanski?
I have no clue. What I know is that Stefanski's own words: if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And right now, I think the Haslams, they're falling for anything. They're listening to I don't know what they're listening to, but it's right there in their face that that combination do not know what they're doing. When you take a look at the character of coaches that they had in there, when you take a look at the character of the players that they had in there, and they let them go, I mean, they totally destroyed that team. Totally destroyed it. Stefanski inherited a great dang on team. He was able to go to two playoffs, and he think he did that by himself. What he's doing now is by himself. Okay, and you can see the results that he's getting. He's not getting any results. You can say whatever you want to say to those players. He's turning them off. Any players that were there the past 5 years, they don't believe a word that he has to say. Now, Jim Schwartz, on the other hand, totally different ball game. If he was to be named the head coach, I think they could win some games that they have remaining. Other than that, they're not going to win any games because those guys don't believe in Kevin. It's that plain and simple.
Sapphire, do they fire Stefanski? If you could push a button, you're sitting in that seat. Do you get rid of Barry and Stefanski, or do you keep one and retain the other? What is the answer?
Remember when y'all would, when you were young, you would go to the fair and there'd be that machine where you would have to hammer the monkeys when they pop up out of the hole. That's what I would do immediately with effect. I appreciate the efforts that Coach Stefanski and Andrew Barry made while they were here on the North Coast for 6 seasons, and based just on the last couple of seasons. Everything that Coach Stump said, yes, I would say thank you and please turn and sashay away. That's what I would do.
Coach Stump, should they get rid of both of them, and do they retain one and keep the other?
I get rid of both of
Get
them.
rid of either.
I get rid of both of them because uh, first of all, Andrew Berry has been there the past 6 years. There's no way that he
Mhm.
should allow the team to be this bad when you're talking about lack of offensive linemen. That happened. Okay. Christian Worth, who Bill Callahan wanted to draft in the first round, he took Jerry Willis instead. Christian has been in the Pro Bowl every year, and he just caught a touchdown pass from who? From who?
Baker
Oh,
Mayfield.
oh, I'm sorry. It was from Baker Mayfield. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. They had Baker. I'm sorry. They let Baker go. Okay. They didn't know how to handle men. Whether they had a little temper or whether they were a quiet guy like Amari Cooper. You inherited Amari from Dallas for nothing. He comes there his first year, he catches more passes from than he ever had any place he been. More touchdown passes. Okay. Then his next year, he has more yards than he ever had any place. And this guy's entitled to a contract, and you don't give him one. And now he comes in and mentally he's messed up. You
Mm,
know, these guys, they have to be right mentally, man.
yep.
They got stuff on their mind. It's just not going to happen. Those receivers, you're going to see them drop some balls. It happened with Amari. It's happening with Jerry Judy, because they don't have a clear understanding of what you're trying to do. I mean, it's that plain and simple. You have to allow these guys to be relaxed and go out and play ball. And that's not happening with Andrew or Kevin. Those guys, they don't believe him. I'm telling you. Now, if Jim Schwartz was named the
Mhm.
dang on head coach tomorrow, you will see a difference in that football team. It'll be just like it was when they brought Joe Flacco in there. I mean, Joe not only raised the dang on football team, but he raised all of Cleveland.
Well, Coach, they were late. They were a year late on that reacquisition as well. Before we get into our spotlight running back of the week, we got a great kid. Want to ask you about staying in the conference, AFC North, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Coach Mike Tomlin. Coach, you hot right now, so I want to keep you hot and blazing. Do the Steelers fire Tomlin? Now he's a fellow brother that we love, and I'm not bashing my people on here. I ain't got it in me, but we got to talk football, right?
Listen, there comes a point in time where you've taken that team as far as you can go. You know, God has blessed you to do all that you can do. You have to see when it's time for you to move on. That happens. I mean, Mike has done pretty much everything he's done. Winning seasons, he's probably not going to have a losing season, but it just seemed like he can't get over the hump right now. That's and you reach that standing point sometimes, and he may be able to go someplace else, right down the road there in Cleveland, and or someplace else and be successful. But right now,
Sapphire,
it seems like that team has been taken as far as it possibly can go.
Sapphire, you like Tomlin in Cleveland? That's exciting news.
I, I, I
Possibility.
I do not like Mr. Tomlin in Cleveland, but I will agree with both Coach Stump and you. I mean, what I can recall of the Steelers organization, the Rooney family, they're just not that type of organization to fire coaches. I mean, you go back to Cower, and it just seems like when I look at Mr. Tomlin, he looks tired, and maybe, just maybe, it will be his decision whether or not he wants to continue on with the Steelers. But he's had a long, successful run, and I really do wish him the best, just not in Cleveland.
But see, success for him,
For him,
for successful for Mike,
successful for Mike,
if he's not winning
if
bowl
he's
games,
not winning bowl
he's not
games, he's
successful.
not
He's just
successful. He's
average,
just
and he
average.
don't want to
And
be
he
an
don't
average
want to
guy.
be an average guy.
Right now, he's just
Right now,
playing the
he's just
schedule and
playing the
maybe one
schedule.
more game. So that's not success. Yes,
So
he's
yes,
not. He's having
so that's not.
a winning season, but players want more than that. He wants more than that, and right now it just seems like his time in Pittsburgh may have run its course.
Before I want to get into our kid here, Coach. I want you to see him, but I just want to tell everybody to tune in tomorrow at 10:30. Uh, the National High School Hall of Fame press conference. Mayor Orcutt and Show and Russell. They put a lot of work into the High School Hall of Fame. We're looking to, you know, all do our part and make this thing big. Some of the inductees for this next class: Ozzie Newsome, Tony Dorsett, Drew Pearson, Brian Bosworth, and our close friend Greg Pruitt, and some others. So please tune in at 10:30 at the HOFnetwork.tv. This is the same YouTube channel which we showcase our podcast. Again, tune in at 10:30 tomorrow, HOFnetwork.tv. Now I want to get into our kid. Hello, I want to welcome everyone to the Stump Talk Podcast, RBU Running Back Spotlight of the Week. This week we have a kid out of Avon High School. He's headed down to another state run, a repeat champion. Keontae Smith, number 7 for Avon. How you doing, Keontae?
I'm good. How you doing?
Very good. It's nice to meet you. Appreciate you connecting. We definitely want to put the spotlight on you, my friend. I think in the last 5 or 6 games, you've been on a tear. I got a phone call from my guy, Joseph Latman, who he the one that told me about you first. And he was like, you need to talk to the kid from Avon coming off. Hello, I want to welcome everyone to the Stump Talk Podcast, RBU Running Back Spotlight of the Week. This week we have a kid out of Avon High School. He's headed down to another state run, a repeat champion. Keontae Smith, number 7 for Avon. How you doing, Keontae?
I'm good. How you doing?
Very good. It's nice to meet you. Appreciate you connecting. We definitely want to put the spotlight on you, my friend. I think you, in the last 5 or 6 games, you've been on a tear. I got a phone call from my guy Joseph Latman, who he the one that told me about you first, and he was like, "You need to talk to the kid from Avon coming off."
Class of 26, and yeah,
What number do you wear?
we're number seven. Number seven.
Why'd you choose number 7, Keontae?
Um, because I feel like it fits me perfectly. I got 7 letters in my name. I was born in July, the 7th month. Uh, Born on the 17th day, and born in 2007. So I feel like all those things connect.
I loved about watching you play. Looks like what other positions do you play besides running back?
Kick return, punt return, cornerback, and like a little bit of everywhere. I wanted to play receiver because I could catch, but they didn't want me. They wanted me to take the ball out the backfield and just use my feet.
Well, your team has been on a tear. You guys are state champions from last year.
Mm.
Going into the game against Anderson this week. Uh, how are you feeling about the game coming up? Where are you at mentally?
Mentally, like I've been saying, like I'm just ready to go. There's no reason to stop now. We made it this far, and we know we wanted the whole year. So we had our minds on let's let's have another week together. Let's just get another week together. And once the playoffs hit, it's the start of a new season, and it's either win or go home.
You through times of injury, helping making sure you go to class. Uh, what's your family been for you during your football life?
They've always been there for me. They since the beginning, since fourth grade, even when I wasn't as good, but no, they had the vision that I was gonna be where I am now and get us better. As long as they were there every step of the way, they helped me out, doing everything they can, supporting me just every game. They haven't missed a game.
What is it like going to Avon High School?
It's a great experience. I mean, it's not really like any other school. It's very special. The community, they're really well together, and football is just everything there.
Talk to us about your teammates. Show this. This is I want you to show your teammates some love. Tell us what they mean to you.
Uh, my teammates, they mean a lot because missing those 5 games, being out, being hurt. I mean, it didn't feel like I was missing anything because they were there for me the entire time, making sure I was fine. Just talking to me whenever I need, even when I didn't want to talk, they were still talking to me, and they were there for me the whole time. So,
Where do you see yourself at playing at the next level in terms of position and what you would bring to a college football team?
I feel like position wise, I mean, I feel like a lot of coaches, uh, college coaches, don't see me as a really like factor for real because of my size. But I feel like honestly, if you really watch the film and not really worry about as much as the size, because when I get there, I'm gonna be eating meals every day, getting bigger, the weight room. I feel like I could play anywhere, just being an offensive guy. Even on the defense, I'm just an athlete, so I feel like if you have an athlete on the field and you just train them, get them in the right mindset, all this physicality, you can do anything with them.
Well, academic class.
I like social studies. I like a lot of like I like learning about history and things that went on in the world.
I used to love social studies. So, as you go to college and football will be a part of your life in some shape or form or aspect. I expect to see you to play on Saturdays. And so, as far as college and being a student, what do you think you would like to study? What would you like to get your degree in?
I kept thinking about sports management or like being around that area or even just real estate.
Hello. So that was Keontae Smith from Avon Coast there, going for his team is going for their back-to-back state title run. He's been integral in that. So what do you think about that kid? Can you hear his coach? Sapphire?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Avon is no joke. That school is out in my neck of the woods, and they are a juggernaut. I don't know what they feed those young men, but in terms of the young man, I like the way he, his shoulders seem to always be squared, right? His feet always moving, and as I listened to him and watched, Fannin Jr. came to my mind because he played both sides of the ball, right?
Right.
So it'll be interesting to follow him into college and see whether it's on the gridiron or off, see him realize his success. Great interview.
Thank you, Coach. Are you with us?
Yeah, I think everything depends on where he goes, what type of system he's in, and the ability to mesh with the team and the system that they're playing. I think he definitely have good skills as a running back. There's no question about that. So it's all about being able to compete, which is he's going to have to do wherever he goes, and I think he'll do a tremendous job.
He said he mows his game after Ashton Gentry, and
Mm.
so we'll see with his body type and style, he can run back kicks and be on the do some damage in special teams as well. I do want to get back to the NFL, Coach. The Chicago Bears are in first place in the NFC. Caleb Williams, I definitely didn't see that coming. Um, Rodgers, should he be benched? Coach, you have here. There's a lot of meaningful football left in the last 5 weeks of the season. What are your thoughts on the Bears and the big games coming up, going down in the last 5 weeks of the season, as far as who's going to be the conference leaders, who's going to come out of AFC and NFC? Coach, what are your thoughts on that? Sapphire, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, first of all, their head coach, Ben Johnson. I mean, you think about where he was at last season, right? The Lions and the type of success the Lions had. It just makes sense that he's brought that to Chicagoland. And I think Caleb Williams he's just ready to go. I think it's a great marriage between the two of them, and I could definitely see based on their record this year them going. I mean, at least to the second round of the playoffs. As it relates to Aaron Rodgers, look, Pittsburgh has some issues. They're aging as well on their O line, and the game waits on no one. Mother time happens, in football as well. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers wants to do because the only thing I understand, he wants to retire as a Packer. So the question is, at 42, does he still have that drive to go out there? I mean, he did demonstrate that a little bit, on Sunday, the whole bloody nose thing. But, you know, does he still have that same drive, that same hunger to hang in there and lead a team? Because, they're still eligible. I mean, they are still in the running for the AFC North. It just really comes down to what's in his heart, I think. So those are just a couple of my thoughts.
Well, I think the only reason Aaron is there is because he loved playing the game. I mean, he don't need to do it for the money. I don't think. I don't know his pocket, but I don't think he needs to do it for the money. I think the only reason he's doing it is because he wants to win. And it's a team effort, offense, defense, special teams. They all gotta gel together. But it's this time of year, they just don't seem to. No matter who's the offense coordinator, they just don't seem to be able to get over that hump. And right now, defensively, they're giving away a little bit more than they have in the past.
Coach, I want to ask you about the big games coming up. One team that we definitely have to mention is the Dallas Cowboys. Are possibly can get in the mix for whatever it's worth. They are a big NFL market and fan base. They have a Thursday night game against the Detroit Lions that to me is going to use havoc, coach. It's going to be a big game. We got Pittsburgh and Baltimore at Baltimore. Where they're both 6-6, 2-1 in the division. We got Indy at Jacksonville. Chicago at Green Bay is going to be a huge game. The Rams at Arizona, Houston at the Kansas City Chiefs, and then Philly at the LA Chargers on December 8th for Monday Night Football. So as we go down the stretch here, Coach, what are your thoughts on some of those NFC versus NFC and AFC versus AFC matches? Sapphire.
Dallas, Pittsburgh, Indy, Green Bay, LA Rams, Kansas City, and Philly. That's where I'm living right now. It's a great time of the year.
Coach. I don't think Coach. Can you hear us, Coach? I don't think he can hear us. Uh, Coach,
I
are you
think
there?
Dallas and Philly. That's going to be. It's
Mhm.
going to boil down to them. Dallas has been doing a pretty good job the past uh, 3 weeks. You know, that's going to be huge if they can go to Detroit and win that game. They're going to be feeling pretty dang on good. So they'll be in good standings. And hey, Dak can throw the ball, and Pickens showing you he can play as well.
Oh, yeah.
In the defense now, those guys are starting to come around with some of the beef that he's added up front there.
I want to get into college football. We're in Ohio. You already know where this is going, Sapphire and Russ. Uh, you know, the Ohio State Buckeyes
Thank you.
opened up a can of spinach and a little bit of ass whooping there. Uh, down in Michigan, we're not letting that slide by no means. Uh, how excited were you for the Ohio State Michigan game, Sapphire?
I was on the East Coast. I was wearing my The Ohio State University regalia. I could barely hear the game because there were so many Buckeyes fans there. The game started out a little tense, but they just relaxed and really just did what they do. And we're all very excited, and looking forward to seeing the Big Ten championship victory. Buckeyes.
Yeah, I thought Coach Day did a great job. You know, after the game, talking about winning with class. You know, it was something that he didn't try to rub in their face because they beat him by a good amount of points. It was just they did what they had to do. The focus was where it needed to be, and they went, you know, in the big house and won a big game.
Yes, they did.
So this is running back you. So we're definitely going to address the fact. I saw a report today about running backs from Ohio that come to Ohio State. Maurice Claret, and there's been a list of them. We got this new kid now, Bo Jackson, out of St. Village. Joe, he is a true freshman, and Coach, I don't know if you had a chance to see that kid. I would love to bring him on the podcast, but Sapphire, what do we have in that freshman?
I mean, the future. I really thought it was going to be Donaldson's year, but this young man, Boulevard Jackson, I mean, for me, he came out of nowhere. I mean, I knew he was there, but the way that he is running, it's just like the cherry on top of the sundae. And I really think, as much as we talk about defense wins games, like Ohio State has a great backfield, and it's just exciting to watch him.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which one of those young men get the ball. They all doing a great job, and you know it's because they got a pretty good offensive line. Those guys are the heart and soul of anybody's football team at whatever level. For the most part, you got to have some pass protecting, and you got to have some guys that can move some men. So the running backs, receivers, whoever have an opportunity if they running, you know, from the dot or offset, or if they running jet sweeps or whatever, they have to have an opportunity to get started.
Hey, coach, maybe the Browns will use their 5 or 6 draft picks in the first 4 rounds in 2026 and draft a couple of those young men that are protecting on that O line down in Columbus.
Hope
Yeah,
so.
maybe so, or maybe they will use one of those draft picks if somebody, you know, and I doubt it. You could use one of those draft picks to get a veteran offensive lineman,
Mm.
because anybody that want to be successful, no, they have to have those offensive linemen. But you can go out there and you can find one in the top 10 picks that can come in or should be able to come in and do a great job. You
Speaking
just
of
got to
college
make sure you
football,
get the right one.
we want to stick to college football. I think the big story, given the transfer for portal and the restrictions and the negative media that players receive for leaving schools, we have a guy, Monty Kiffin, or is that Lane Kiffin? Monty Kiffin was his father. Coach, you probably know the father. Uh, I'm going to let you attack this first, Sapphire. What are your thoughts on Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss for the LSU job, leaving those kids sort of hanging, and they happily dismissed him from the CF championship bowl duties. Told him to go ahead and pack your bag and don't let the door hit you, which I would have told him the same thing. Is it fair that college coaches can leave and they don't want the kids to jump around?
Yeah, that's the for me, that's the biggest takeaway. You got double standards there. For me, unfortunately, I see sports, any sport, as a business. It's not like it was when I was growing up as a little girl, when people clearly, once they gave you their word and their commitment, that's what it was. But there's so many different factors involved in sports, and it just seems to be all about the money. I don't know that Lane Kiffin has done anything that would have resulted in all of the hype in and around him, but I want to be clear. I'm going to agree with Booger on this. You got to be careful what you ask for. He's going to LSU not to just be a coach, but to win championships. So, uh, the story, his next chapter begins.
Well, I think Lane has done a pretty good job at Ole Miss. I think he's done a hell of a job, to be perfectly honest. I mean, you go to LSU, they have the best players there at LSU, more so than what he had there. It's just sad that he wasn't able to coach that team until they lost. Perfect. Yeah, he's moving on, but they have guys in that program, players in that program that's going to move on after this season too,
Hmm.
because somebody's going to ask him. Once it was just players getting paid under the cover. Now they all get paid.
Yep.
It's a business. You can't. You got a basketball AD who's pissed off with a football guy who's getting who everybody wants. you know, your time run out sometime. Maybe somebody else can come in and win a championship there at Ole Miss. Lane gave it everything he possibly could give it. He's taken that program uh, as far as he could take it, and he was trying to take it even further, but they chose not to allow him to be able to coach. It was a done deal. He was leaving. He wants to win a national championship, and like he said, he has spoken to a couple people. He spoke to Nick. He spoke to Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll asked him or told him, "Your father would say, take the job. You've done all you possibly can do." You know what? I was a head coach at Morgan State, and I was offered to be the running back coach in Kansas City with the Chiefs. And I went there on that interview, and Marty Schottenheimer offered me the job. Okay, and uh, and I told him I was going to take that job, but I told Dr. Richardson, who was the president of the school, I had told him that I would talk to him before I made it official. He asked me to come back and do that. Well, I was entitled to 63 scholarships at Morgan at that time. We only had 36. Okay. I was entitled to 8 full-time coaches. We only had 2. All right. So there was a lot of stuff that I said I'm gonna go back and ask them for. The players there at Morgan State, we was using mostly all of their Pell as a part of their scholarship.
Wow.
I went back and I asked Dr. Richardson for those things, knowing he wasn't going to give them to me. And lo and behold, he gave them to me. So you know what I did? I called Marty Schottenheimer. I told him I could not take that job, and he was pissed. I said, and they were offering me 140,000, and uh, Dr. Richardson said all he could pay me was 90. The money didn't matter. I made a big sacrifice for those players. Okay. But then the next year, Seattle came calling. And I'm like, this is God. This isn't me.
Yep.
This is God. I've taken
Mhm.
this program as far as I could possibly take it. Now it's for me not to be selfish, but to move on out the way and let somebody else take it. And I had a love, or I had a passion for those players that I brought there, but I just knew it was time for me. It was time for me to leave.
Coach, very commendable of you. That's why we love you.
Character.
Uh, exactly, and it's one thing to talk about. It's another thing to live. To live by it. But Coach, and on some of our closing thoughts, I want to talk about reader predictions for the Browns versus the Titans. and what can we get out of that game? What do we expect from Shador? Matter of fact, we're gonna let Stump close. Sapphire, what do you think about this Titans Browns game coming
I
up?
think it's a very winnable game by the Browns. The question will be continue to be, will Stefanski stay out of his own way? Let Shador play, right? Let's unleash the man and let's see all of what he can do in his third NFL start.
Well, it's definitely a winnable game. Denard, I know their defensive coordinator is going to try to bring some stuff, some blitzes, and he's going to make it rough for Shador. But I think the Browns defense, Miles is definitely going to try to get the sack record as soon as he possibly can and go beyond. You don't want to have to wait until the last game. You just don't want to do that. So they're going to be fired up, ready to go. No doubt about it.
Well, you guys, we covered quite a bit of content for Northeast Ohio. Again, we're looking forward to our press conference tomorrow with the National High School Football Hall of Fame and moving things to Brook Park. We're excited about Shador. We're still gloating in the Ohio State beatdown. Indiana, you up next. They've been over there running their mouth, so we coming to get that too, the Buckeyes. But uh, any final thoughts, Sapphire and then Coach?
I just love you, men, and I appreciate you giving this woman some space on your show. I just want to let you know how much I appreciate each and every one of you.
Well, we appreciate you. You do a fantastic job, Sapphire, and look forward to doing it again.
So our producer, Russell Johnson, our big dog, man. When you pull back the curtain and you see Oz, he's the guy behind the boards, and making everything, all the whistles and the bells and the lights work. So we appreciate you for your work, man. So we'll see you guys next week. Stump Talk Podcast, Running Back University. Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns,
Nice.
Sapphire.